Some presidential aspirants of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, in the lead-up to the 2023 presidential election have agreed to float a forum to mobilize support for President Bola Tinubu as part of measures to tackle the challenges confronting the nation. Convener and acting chairman of the forum, Senator Ahmed Yerima, as well as APC's youngest presidential aspirant, Dr. Nicholas Felix, disclosed this in a statement issued Saturday in Abuja. The group gave the objectives of the forum to include advising the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the APC administration for the overall transformation of the country. The forum also aims to disseminate the policies and programs of the administration to the grassroots, interact, inform, and mobilize Nigerians in the diaspora to help in repositioning the nation. The forum says it intends to use the occasion to fraternize since the primary election. The forum will be inaugurated Monday, the 18th of December, 2023 at the Transcorp Hilton Hotel in Abuja, and the time, they say, is 5 p.m. President Bola Tinubu has celebrated his friend and ally, former President Muhammadu Buhari, on his 81st birthday, describing him as an icon of truth, justice, and patriotism in Nigeria. Tinubu extols the PLS leadership credentials and feats of the former president, recalling his meritorious service to the nation at various times as head of state and as president. The president recalls Buhari's record of infrastructural provision, which included several new international airports, multiple standard gauge railway lines, new seaport developments, dozens of new dams, power stations, oil and gas infrastructure, expressways, and mega bridges. He also recalls the former president's aggressive push to modernize Nigeria's defense architecture, describing him as the finest paradigm of sacrifice, devotion, patriotism, and fidelity to the national cause. Well, joining us now to look at these developments and what it portends to our democracy is Professor Abiodun Adeniyi, who is a rights analyst and the Deputy Dean, School of Postgraduate Studies, Bayes University here in Abuja. Very warm welcome to Newsnight, Prof.
Thank you.
Developments in the polity every day, former presidential aspirants, you know, it was quite a rancorous, convention then leading to the APC presidential, contest then. What do you think of this? How is it going to add value to the Tinubu's presidency in any way?
Well, good question. First of all, associations are social units, that combine to form the society. Second is that, any group, individuals are covered by the Constitution to associate, whenever and however they want, provided it is legitimate. This one is legitimate, no doubt. But I think it looks nebulous and somewhat imprecise for me until probably hear to probably see them meet and probably listen to them to know what is actually driving them. We have a couple of them. I do not see how a former president, Yemi Osinbajo, for instance, as influential as he is, will be very active, will be an active member of that group. I do not see how former governor of Rivers State and former minister of transport, Rotimi Amechi, will participate in that group.
Yeah, he's debunked it.
That's fine. I also imagine that former governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, is ordinarily a very busy person. I don't think you have much time for that group. And if you look at their aim as well, they want to come together so that they can advise the president, be advising the president, and of course help to mobilize the people to support him from the grassroots level, upwards. I imagine that some of these individuals that are contested are very, very influential people. As individuals, right? They are somewhat strong enough in stature and otherwise, to do things as individuals, not necessarily as a group. I'm not undermining the importance of a group, but I'm just saying that many of them will imagine what they can do at the level of their persons, before coming together, and literally, coming together as association of those who lost to a president. I remember also the president of the Senate also contested. So it's ordinarily supposed to be a member, but it's already in place, you know.
No,
and of course,
fantastically, if you remember.
But of course, he was part of the campaign process.
Oh, yes, definitely was. Yes, yes.
So ordinarily, I don't see him also being a member. He's already doing well for where he is, already performing, as the case could be, where he is. At the level of association, it is fine, you know, but the potency is what I have problem with. You know, somehow it looks for me like some people are just trying to come together and, of course, create some relevance for themselves, which may also not be illegal. But again, we're just saying that we need to put things in proper context, as the case could be.
Well, Prof, let's look at this group just like you've said. You know, individually, yes, they command some respect and the rest. You know, well, as an association, how are they really going to go about it, and what value are they really going to add to the Tinubu's presidency? But some political analysts are quick to say it's, you know, politicians, they don't always want to be idle. They must create some level of jobs for themselves. Yeah, is it job for the boys too? You know?
I think it's, with every due respect to him, the one that you announced as the youngest of the aspirants seems to be the driving force, you know, because he mooted the idea shortly after the elections of the aspirants coming together, maybe to do one or two things. And of course, they were supposed to meet like this, but the meeting never held, you know. I'll be surprised if we have up to 5 of them attending the meeting on Monday. You know, it doesn't look like something that will have a very strong foundation for many reasons, you know. Because it just, again, typifies what we expect of politicians, like you said, trying to find relevance, you know, to create value for themselves in a situation where it appears as if it, you know,
their fortunes are dwindling.
Yeah, declining. So they want to see how they can. But otherwise, the Yerima, for instance, former governor of Zamfara State, coming to canvass support for President Tinubu wouldn't be a bad one, considering that
they were governors, 1999.
It would not be a bad one. But I'm also making the argument that in his person, you know, without necessarily coming together within the bracket of the association of supposed losers, you know, and they can also be very, very potent. They can be very potent as a person, as an individual, you know, if they actually mean business, you know. But again, we'll have to wait and see what the outcome of the meeting will look like.
For somebody, I mean, like Rotimi Amechi, the former governor of Rivers State and Minister of Transportation, he has debunked it, you know, when in a telephone conversation with one of our correspondents that, please, are you part of this association? He said, what rubbish, would you believe
predictably,
that? Very predictably, you know.
You know, former vice president is somebody that can
reach to
go straight to the any time, you know, even in his person, very influential, credible professional. In all regards, you know, he's got that access, you know, he can create it for himself whenever he wants. So he doesn't need to belong to a group to be able to see the president or to talk to the president of the country. And of course, he's somebody who is prominent, you know, whatever he says carries some weight. So if he talks even using the media as a platform, of course, you know, he will be heard. You know, and of course, so to that extent, I don't think that he want to think that until he joins a kind of a group that is vacuous, seemingly, before he can make any impacts in terms of supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
So what kind of political kite is this? Would you want to ascribe this to?
It's not illegitimate, Christian. We're in a democracy. You know, it's all about inclusion and integration. It's a free atmosphere, and of course, the constitution gives everybody cover. You know, as long as you're not doing things that runs against the interests of the state. You know, you can freely associate, no matter the level that you want to make this happen. You know, it's an exercise of the Aristotelian free will, you know, and you cannot necessarily, we may not necessarily put them down in that regard, but in terms of context, in terms of value, that's what I'm actually struggling to see if it carries any.
Well, okay, let's go to the former president, President Muhammadu Buhari, a retired general, former head of state and former president now, you know, plenty formers and the rest. And the sitting president, Tinubu, has extolled, you know, his sterling qualities, describing him as the finest paradigm of sacrifice, devotion, patriotism, and fidelity to the national cause.
He's a great man by all means.
Very flamboyant words.
Yeah, and of course that's very lavish, very generous,
Yeah.
not unexpected, considering that they were friends, political friends, at least from what we know from 2013, 2014. And do not forget the role he played in the ascension of President Buhari as president of this country after contesting a couple of times and losing. Until
remember the Abeokuta famous declaration by President Tinubu.
Until he now came in.
He hit the ground 3 times and they had to help him.
And whether we like it or not, Christian, President Buhari played a role in the emergence of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president of this country.
Whether we like it or not, because there were subsidiarian talks that they preferred another candidate. They didn't support him.
He was very influential in it because when after INEC declared the result, there was so much controversy. And of course, until the president intervened, saying that people should go to court. Yes, there were controversies again, with that advice that people should go to court. But of course, it helped in,
stabilizing the
nerves,
polity,
the ice that was gradually building up, after the election, the results were announced, And of course, we also know from our history, we knew what happened after the June 12 presidential election. If a sitting president wants to be mischievous, there are so many things he can do, really. But Buhari did none of those. He was just interested in handing over, peacefully and retiring to Dara. So by all means, he's a great man. And do not forget, at the level of integrity and credibility, there's so much to be associated with him in those regards. Even though while he was in power, we didn't see these traits, these characteristics permeating at the ranks of his lieutenants. He was still the only one that we could see as being above board, like Caesar's wife. But there were so many allegations around his lieutenants.
Which he even mentioned recently from Daura to say they floated Air Nigeria, and Nigerians didn't protest.
But he was largely an aloof person, but despite all his downsides, all his imperfections, I think he's a great person. He deserves to be celebrated at 81, and even at the level of age. I mean, we're all praying to advance in age, but getting to 81 is not mean feat. So he deserves to be
all the accolades. Well, just like we say in literature that no work of art is totally bad, as long as it generates criticism, whether for the right purpose or negative purpose.
That's right, yes.
That means it's a good work at the end of the day. Thank you so very much, Professor Abiodun Adeniyi, a RISE analyst, and
thank you very much,
Deputy
I'll see you next time.
All right.
Thank you.